atrocities for what they're doing in the Ukraine.
Well, I don't think they are our friend.
And for what they're doing in Syria.
I don't think most people think they're our friend. I don't know anybody who thinks they're our friend.
And we shouldn't treat them as a friend.
But we should talk tough in response to, quote, an act of war? In response to an attack? I mean, I can't imagine a more irresponsible response to an act of war than talking tough or doubling down on sanctions already in place or expanding NATO. I mean, we need a real response. Don't you agree? A military response to an act of war. How can we do otherwise?
Not every action requires a military response.
Not every act of war requires a military response?
Yeah. So there's cyber warfare that you can conduct as well. But Tucker, if you take a step back, never in the history of our elections has a country attacked us the way that Russia has. It was an electronic attack. Of course, it wasn't by a bomb or through a missile or a bullet, but they attacked us and they tried to influence the outcome of our campaign. And I'll be the first to say it. They did not change any vote tallies.
But again, I'm taking you seriously. They attacked us. You say this does not require a military response, but an electronic one. What would be a proportionate counterattack, which we both agree is necessary on the basis of your description? What would that look like? What should we do to them? Sanctions? NATO? Let's be real. What should we really do to them?
Well, we can squeeze their economy. That hurts them, right? You know, right now Russia's economy is in a free fall. I think tougher sanctions should isolate Russia from the rest of the world. But right now...
Is that going to hurt Putin pretty badly?
Yeah, that'll hurt his popularity in the country.
You think he's going to run out of vodka or have to move into a motel or something?
No, Tucker, I mean, this is a serious attack
no, for real, though.
on our country. That's why we had a hearing today. And when I go home and talk to my constituents, they want to know, are we going to do anything, or is the next election going to see 2, 3, 4 of our foreign adversaries trying to influence and have the most aggressive meddler get their preferred candidate?
I mean, I think it goes without saying that I'm speaking half in jest because I think that the description of this as an act of war is hysterical. I mean, I think it's lunatic,
it's a different
actually.
type of warfare.
But I'm just saying, you're a sitting congressman. You had one of your colleagues, a senator, Senator Cardin from Maryland, call this an act of war. The Russians are listening to this. Our allies are listening to this. I don't know how you can describe something as an act of war and then recommend in response tepid moves like, I don't know, sanctions. I mean, really.
There's nothing that we have more sacred than our democracy, a free and fair election.
My question.
No.
You're saying the term, this is war, and you don't want to do anything about it.
No, I do want to do a lot about it. I want to increase. I don't want to do what you want me to do about it.
So what do you want to do about it? I mean, let's be really specific. What should we do? I'm taking you seriously. What do you want to do?
We should increase the sanctions against Russia. We should work with our allies in NATO to make sure that they also are not as dependent on Russia for their liquid natural gas, which right now Russia is one of the main sources for a lot of Eastern European and Western European countries.
So you would be for fast-tracking natural gas ports on our coast to ship it to Russia?
Isolate Russia more.
But would you be for fast-tracking
ports to pay for what they did?
You just said you want to make Europe less dependent upon Russian energy. That sounds wise. We're the largest natural gas producer in the world. So why wouldn't we want to fast-track those ports to make it possible for American natural gas producers to sell their gas to Europe? Are you for that?
No, I'm for doing anything we can to isolate Russia. And Tucker,
but again, are you for that? Because I know the Natural Resources Defense Fund is against that. But what are you for it?
Yeah, I am for helping our Western European allies.
Okay, you brought it up, and I'm asking you: do you really believe what you're saying? Do you actually want to make Europe less dependent upon Russian energy? I'm not laughing either. I'm laughing at your response, which is, you're saying that we should help Europe become energy independent, but we shouldn't sell them the natural gas?
Of course we should. And we should help others do the same. But Tucker, again, people at home, they take serious our elections. These fights belong to us. You know, Republicans and Democrats can go at it back and forth. But as soon as an outside meddler comes in, that's off limits. And both parties should say, we're not going to tolerate this. And this is actually, I think, an opportunity for Republicans and Democrats to unify and say, never again will we allow ourselves to be in this mess, because this is a mess.
As soon as you define the effect of Russian meddling, hacking, war-making, whatever you're calling it now, on our election, then I think you'll have a chance of bringing people over to your side. What was the effect exactly? And I've asked you this many times, and you can't provide an answer.
No, I can provide an answer. Russia sought to tear down Hillary Clinton and lift up Donald Trump. And our intelligence agencies have concluded that. I believe our intelligence agencies. Do you?
So, I don't know. Sometimes I have a right, I think, as an American citizen to know more about how they reach their conclusions. But they sort of missed 9/11 and the fall of the Soviet Union, and so I think it's fair to be skeptical. I'm not lacking patriotism for taking that position.
But there's been no counter evidence that Russia did not do this.
No, but you heard the FBI director today say that Vladimir Putin hated Hillary Clinton, hated her. He personally hated her, and that's why he sought her defeat in the election.
How do you think he made that up? Or do you think
I don't know the answer. I'm asking you as a member of the Intel Committee. Yeah. How would he know something like that? I don't know what I think about things. We don't even know ourselves. How could he possibly know the innermost thoughts of the
Why are we really here? I mean, you're
it's
trying
a serious question. Why would he allege something like that? How could he possibly know that?
Because of intelligence reporting.
Based on what?
Through electronic sources that are in the public report that the intelligence community put out.
But there's no indication of how we could know Vladimir Putin's innermost thoughts about Hillary Clinton. And you're asking me to
do you think we should tell the world how we collect intelligence?
No, I think before
or should we trust the people who do it?
I think before government officials change our foreign policy and declare war against a sovereign country, as you all are attempting to do, we, citizens, have a right to know on what basis you're doing that. So if you're telling me you know what Vladimir Putin believes as a person, I think it's fair to ask, how the hell would you know that?
Well, again, we have an electronic source in that call between Michael Flynn and the ambassador.
No.
Right?
I'm talking about Vladimir Putin's attitude about Hillary Clinton. The FBI director said today, I know that he sought her demise because he hates her personally. He said that.
Yeah, I still believe you have to protect
You just believe him and you don't ask for evidence?
No, I asked for evidence and I've received the evidence and I've reviewed the classified report.
So on that very specific question, you were satisfied that he could know what Vladimir Putin felt in his innermost thoughts about Hillary Clinton?
Beyond a shadow of doubt, That's my job on the intelligence committee, is to review that evidence.
Are you further convinced that Vladimir Putin believed that Hillary Clinton would lose?
Yes, I believe.
So not only is Michael Flynn clairvoyant, but so is Vladimir Putin, because he's the only one in the world, basically, who thought Hillary Clinton was going to lose.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, he thought Donald Trump was going to lose, and he thought that the desired outcome was to undermine Hillary Clinton, figuring that she was going to win, she would go into office so badly bruised that she wouldn't have much credibility.
I've heard that theory, and let me just suggest one thing before we go. Doesn't all of this undercut that theory? Because, of course, the effect of this, and this is the effect of Democrats, this is why you're doing this, is to badly undercut the administration of Donald Trump. This weakens Trump.
Obviously,
this weakens Trump.
If Hillary Clinton had won, I would still want to punish the Russians for what they did.
If Putin is this genius spy master, why would he be behind a gambit like this that winds up weakening a guy he supposedly loves? This hurts Trump. Why would Putin want to do that?
He has a guy in there now who wants to roll back sanctions, wants to reduce the role of NATO. Putin is celebrating right now.
If Trump attacked Russia, would you be? If he said, you know what, I believe you, Congressman Swalwell, this is an active war, I'm going after Russia with long-range bombers. What would you say?
Again, Tucker, this is not military versus non-military. I would say ratchet up the sanctions, isolate Russia, make Putin pay for this. But most importantly, in 2021, I don't want to be sitting here with you talking about another country that attacked us.
I will not take it seriously without evidence, but we'll still be talking about it, I'm sure. When Trump declares war against Russia, I'm going to bring you on and say,
bring me on.
Thank you, Congressman.
Thanks,
Tucker.
All right, Eric Swalwell and Tucker Carlson. But an interesting conversation to go. No evidence of what Putin is thinking or what he thought or any of these things like that. We do know that Russia, as well as lots of other countries, have meddled in or wanted to control or would love the outcome to be different for them because of the fact of how things end up for them. And if we're going to put sanctions on them, whether it's going to be Iran or whoever it's going to be, Russia, whatever, I never heard that Donald Trump was going to actually ease sanctions and invite Putin to Mar-a-Lago and start golfing with him. He just said that I think that I can work with him. That's all he's ever said, and thought that he might be able to be a deal maker there. Maybe there's going to be no good deals made. Maybe there's going to be bad deals made. Nobody really knows, but I don't know if you're like me and a lot of Americans, but it's just it's one giant headache. But the public needs to know, needs to understand, but I don't think we'll ever really fully understand. Even Tucker had brought up 9/11 and what was known and all the chatter beforehand to be able to shut that down and all the strangeness that surrounded that with intelligence and stuff like that, with keeping intelligence, sharing intelligence. And then for those that politically are driven or motivated for whatever reason, whatever dirt they might have on somebody or afraid that they're going to be fired or let go, you know, the one thing in Washington is nobody wants to lose power. Nobody wants to give it up. And so we don't know exactly what's going on there. We'd like to be able to trust them and believe that they have the best interest in mind. But these are politicians, or they're moved by politicians. And they're elected into these positions, and there's always politics. There's always that element that's written in. And so it's hard. Even Comey, in this position right now. I think it's going to be a very vicarious relationship this going forward now, with now, saying that, oh, nothing happened. We don't have, any evidence. I guess we might never know. I just, for the life of me, I can't think of one reason why Donald Trump would just go ahead and put that wild accusation out unless he was given some information put out there. And listen, you got a judge that actually was making pretty good money with Fox, with a pretty good reputation as it is. He doesn't need the television. He can certainly go to the courtroom anytime and help as many people as he can possibly help, Judge Napolitano. But hey, we love the judge. And he's standing by his word, and it makes me think, here's a smart guy, and many other people think that there's much more to the story. I happen to be an American that thinks that there is more to the story, and just to think right now, the mere fact that Obama did not leave Washington, he has set up on Embassy Row his mansion and a shadow government from what people have seen, and doing everything and anything that they can possibly do to agitate, to propagate, to get out there and get people lined up, rioting, upset, stirring the pot, as what he is really good at doing with community organizing, and upsetting the balance, but doing what they can to conspire against Trump and everything that he's got so they can leverage 2020 pretty well. And that's going to be coming up before long. So I don't trust what's going on right now. I really, honest to goodness, don't. And it's interesting to hear how the left is. The left has no real answers. It's just throwing it out there. Says, oh, well, we're privy to this intelligence. Even Comey can't answer questions. Certain things you can, certain things you can't. You're under investigation, or we have investigations going on, and we can't. But they're going to have a full report, and it'll be interesting to see. But ultimately speaking, what the most important thing on voters' minds at the time was pretty cut and dry. And that was, did they meddle with the count? Did they drug Americans to vote for Donald Trump? If Hillary Clinton was so squeaky clean, and that she had no corruption in her or the people around her, give me a break. The Clintons are down and dirty dogs. We've encountered them here on this broadcast. The founder had an 18-year audit put on by Hillary Rotten Clinton directly from the White House. She wrote a letter. I read the letter, saw the letter, and she signed it from the White House stationery with her name on it, taking a good man down because he was critical of Bill Clinton and his policies. And so she used her power, and she took somebody down and destroyed somebody. And if that was just a mere radio show, talk show host, can you imagine what she's done to so many other people in this country? But I tell you, who's really suffered ultimately has been the American people. Have really got the shaft through the years. And continue to get it. The only thing that we can do is hold our leaders accountable, and we can just pray for the best, and that's what we do. And we talk about these issues, but some of it, at the end of the day, sometimes you're just really not going to have a very good answer for it, because you have these folks at the very top, but you don't think you got justice, at your local courthouse for something else. You didn't think that the judge really was fair about a particular thing. You talk about it on the higher levels that we're talking about right now. It just, again, these folks get away. Hillary Clinton's got away with so many things with her organization, with taking money and receiving money for her campaign and all the promises and things that she's done. Corrupt, pure corruption. Not got a good thing. But she gets away with it. Why does she get away with it? Says nobody's above, the law. Well, if you start cracking down and prosecuting people, then we might actually believe that. That is where, the proof is in the pudding there, when you actually start taking these leaders and putting them in jail. But they get away with it, so that just doesn't go well and doesn't bode well for a lot of the American people. It doesn't bode well for me. And how do you have confidence in all of these particular things? We're looking at Neil Gorsuch. He's going to rule fairly, for people. I believe that he will. I think he's a good man for everything that we've seen and I've read about him. Seems to be this guy just really is a strong conservative, but just wants to have an even hand in things, and that's what we need to have somebody do, not to interpret it any other way, but just